Hello Year 1 and welcome to your RE lesson for this week. We're carrying on looking at special places and special religious places. So let's take a look at what we're doing today. So it says today we're going to be learning about religious people's special places. We're going to look at a number of religions, we're going to look at their special places, and then there is a fun little quiz for you at the end to play. So the first religion that we're going to look at is Christianity, okay? And people who follow Christianity are called Christians. Now they believe in a God, and you might be a Christian. You might go to church. And do you know what the book is that Christians read? That's right, it's the Holy Bible. So you might believe in God, you might not believe in God. And remember, I always say, whatever you believe is absolutely fine and up to you. So Christians believe in one God who is absolutely everywhere. Okay, so they call that omnipresent. It's a very tricky word, but what it means is that he's always there and he can see and knows everything. Christians believe that Jesus was the Son of God. Okay, now we learn in our last topic about God, and we learned about the baby Jesus, and we learned about the story of Mary and Joseph. Okay, and we learned all about that. So hopefully you know a little bit about Christianity. Now, we've spoken about this, that teachings of God are found in a holy book called a Bible. Maybe you've got a Bible at home. Maybe you go to church with your friends and family when they were open. Okay, maybe you're still going online. I know lots of churches are doing some things online. And there's some little children there saying some Christians enjoy going to a special place of worship to pray. Now, do you know the name of the special place that Christians go to? Where do they go to celebrate, or where did they go to pray or to worship their God? Okay, you're absolutely right. They go to a church. Okay, and and it's called a church, and it's a religious building, and they usually go on a Sunday, and it's a time when most Christians will meet to worship God. If they meet in a church, they might sing hymns, they might say some prayers, we might do some readings from the Bible. Remember, when we have our assemblies from Gareth, the Reverend, he sometimes says a prayer at the end, and he says to you, you may want to join in, you may not, you may just want to close your eyes and have a little time to reflect. Okay, and that's important. With religion, it's all about respect, isn't it? You may not believe in it, but it's still nice to respect what people believe. So my question there is, have you seen a church before? Now, Berryfields doesn't really have an actual church building, but it does have a church in the community, and Gareth, our Reverend, he runs that, and you may know Gareth outside of school, but he may go to a different church. Now there's lots of churches in Aylesbury and in surrounding sort of villages and areas, so maybe you guys go to a church. If you do go to a church, maybe you could tell me what church you go to. Now there are some really special places in the UK, and there's St Paul's Cathedral and Westminster Abbey. And I know we would be looking to maybe do a school trip somewhere, but unfortunately we can't do that because of coronavirus at the moment. Now both of these places are in London. So Westminster Abbey is where Queen Elizabeth II was crowned and married, and St Paul's holds several memorials to notable Britons. So those are very famous British people. And the dome of St Paul's is the second biggest dome in the world. Wow. There's some lovely pictures there of Westminster Abbey and St Paul's Cathedral. If you wanted to do a little bit more research, you could on the internet, thinking back to our computing lesson. So here is a picture inside a church. Now I want you to look deep into that picture. What can you spot in there? What kind of key features of a church can we spot? I'll give you a minute just to have a little look in there. Remember, you can pause the video if you need to. Okay, perfect. So we've got stained glass windows, and they usually tell stories of Jesus and his disciples. Those were his followers or his friends. Okay, they're usually quite old buildings made of stone because they've been there for many years. We've got these wooden seats that are called church pews, and that's where people sit in lovely rows and they sing. Now there might be an altar there, okay, which is where at the front. Okay, which is very important. Now we're moving on to a new religion now. So that's our Christianity done. We're moving on to Islam now. So people who follow Islam are called Muslims. Now, you might know some people who are Muslims. Okay, there are some children at our school that follow this religion. I remember what I've said before, that's absolutely fine. Whatever religion people are from, we treat them with respect. So Muslims believe a man called Muhammad founded Islam. They believe he was a prophet sent from God. The word for God in Arabic is Allah. Okay. The teachings of Allah are found in the Holy Quran. So there's a key question there. Some Muslims enjoy going to a special place to worship or pray. Do you know the name of the place that Muslims go to? Now, if you are a Muslim, you should know the answer to this. Remember, you can always ask people at home, and if you don't know, you're going to find out a new religious fact now. How exciting. So the religious building where Muslims go to worship is not called a church, like Christianity or Christians. It's called a mosque. Can you say the word mosque? Excellent. So the mosque is the center of the community to some Muslims. Some Muslims attend the mosque for their 5 daily prayers. Now remember, Christians, Sunday is a special day, but for Muslims, they have to pray 5 times a day. Now that is a lot of prayer, isn't it? And prayer, you might be thinking, what on earth is that? And we usually associate this symbol with prayer. We put our hands together and pray, but it is a way of communicating with God, because sometimes people might have worries or concerns or problems, and they believe that God is someone to talk to. And if you believe that, that is fantastic. So every mosque has a mirror, a niche in the wall that indicates the direction of Mecca. So Mecca is a very, very special place for them. So that is the direction to which they pray. Now, if you don't know what Mecca is, here it is. You could also Google that using a search engine, and you'll be able to find beautiful pictures of Mecca. It's basically a giant ancient cube linking to our 3D shape, and they pray towards that because it's a very special religious place in their religion. So there are some mosques in our country, and there's a mosque in Woking, and there is a London mosque there. You may know of some mosques near us. There is one in Aylesbury. I've been there before when I was a kid on a school trip. And this is what a mosque may look like inside. Okay, and very importantly, you have to take your shoes off when you go in because it's a sign of respect. I love all the patterns and the lovely carpets in there. What can you spot in there? Excellent. So they've got some jazzy windows as well that might tell a story, and some writing. Okay, it's not in English, but there's some lovely writing there. Okay, so we have done Christianity and we have done Islam. We're now looking at another religion. Okay, there's a lot to cover in this, but remember, it's just a quick quiz at the end, so don't panic. You can always rewind if you need to find any of the answers. So we're looking at Buddhism now. So people who follow Buddhism are called Buddhists. They don't believe in a god, but they basically want to live life without suffering, without pain, and without hurt, which is a really nice idea. I think that sounds fantastic. So Buddhism was founded by a man, and there is his name. It's a very tricky name. Maybe you could have a go at that at home. And if you want to find out what he looks like, you could Google that. I think it's Siddhartha Gautama. While meditating for a long time, he reached a place called Nirvana. So that's their special place where there was no more suffering. This is when he became the Buddha. Okay, so they believe that kind of meditating and having a quiet time to reflect and think. Some Buddhists enjoy going to a special place to meditate. Do you know the name of the special place that Buddhists go? So remember, Christianity and Christians, they go to a church, you're right. Then we have our Muslims who follow the religion of Islam, and they go to it's a tricky word, mosque. Well done. Let's find out where Buddhas go. So they go to Buddhist temples. They go to temples. Now, temples vary. That means that they're all different depending on the area of the world and their branch of Buddhism. So Buddhism is slightly different in different places of the world. So the two famous kinds of temples are pagodas and stupas, and there they are. Okay, some lovely things there. We're learning lots today, aren't we? Even I'm learning some new things, which is fantastic. So we're learning together, team. So all Buddhist temples are designed to symbolize the 5 elements, and they believe very strongly in the elements of fire, air, water, earth, and wisdom. Okay. It's not an essential part of Buddhist worship to go to a temple on a regular basis, so they don't have to go. Now remember, in Islam, they have to pray 5 times a day. Okay, and the special day for Christians is usually a Sunday. Most Buddhists also have a special place called a shrine in their very own homes, which is very exciting. They might have a statue of the Buddha, some candles, some incense, which is some things that you set fire to, you light them. Like candles, you blow them out and then they smell beautiful. And when Buddhists worship, they thank Buddha for showing them to the path of enlightenment and meditate, and they try to achieve that nirvana. Remember, that's that really nice feeling when there's no pain and suffering. Okay, do you have a special place at home where you'd like to go? Linking back to our special places lesson, yours might have been your bedroom. You might have a den. You might have a snug in your house. It might be the garden. Where's your special place in your home? Okay, fantastic work so far, year 1. We've learned a lot about 3 big religions there. Okay, this is just an example of the Buddhist temple and what might be involved. You can see there is a giant shrine there with lots of little statues and a big statue. And you can see a Buddha there praying and kneeling and worshipping. So we're going to have a quick quiz now. So what you can do is I'm going to read the questions out. You can pause and you're going to try and fill in the blank. If you need any answers or you don't know, you could rewind the video, find the answer, just like a reading comprehension when we read through, just like our reading skills, find the answer and then fill in the sentence. I'm not expecting you to write these out. You can do this verbally. You can point to the answers on your screen and that would be fantastic. You guys have done some really, really good work recently and I know you're working so hard at home. So I'm not expecting you to write this out, team. Okay, let's fill in the blank, shall we? So Christians believe in, is it Allah, is it God, or is it Buddha? Have a little think, and which one are you going to choose? You could reach forward and point to it on your screen now. Okay, superb, team. The correct answer is God. Christians believe in God. Well done. Okay, followers of Islam, so that was the second religion we looked at, are Muslims, Christians, or Buddhists. So if you believe in Islam, are you a Muslim, are you a Christian, or are you a Buddha, or a Buddhist, sorry? Which do you think it might be? You can remember, you can point to it. If you need to go back, you can always pause and rewind. Excellent work, team. It is Muslims. Okay, now Buddhists are trying to live a life without, is it without love? Is it without suffering? Or is it without happiness? Can you remember that nirvana, that state of mind where they get to, where there is no something? What is that something? Excellent work, team. They're trying to live a life without suffering. They want to be happy, they want to love, but they don't want any suffering. So Christians' special building is called is it a temple? Is it a mosque? Or is it a church? Where do Christians go? Superb. It is a church. Okay, now we've got blank founded Islam. So we're thinking back to Islam now. Is it Jesus? Is that the religion that Jesus is associated with? Is it Buddha? Or is it Muhammad? Okay, excellent work. It is Muhammad. Obviously, Buddha is associated with Buddhism. They sound quite similar. And Jesus is associated with Christianity because he is the Son of God. Last but not least, team, a Buddhist special place to meditate at home is called is it a shrine? Is it a stupa? Or is it a pagoda? Where do they meditate? Remember, it's at home, this one. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And the answer is a shrine, because remember, a stupa and a pagoda, those are the types of temples. They're not going to have a temple in their house. That would be a bit extreme. Now, I hope you've learned something about those three major world religions there. There are, of course, other religions. You might know some facts about other religions that you'd like to share with me. And if you do, you can always email me at the Beech or Elm email account. Okay, I hope you enjoyed our RE lesson and learned something new. Thank you, Year 1.